Thank you for the invitation. I'm delighted to join this event, and this is a very timely one because Central Asia is more or less lost in the bigger energy geopolitical game for some time, and now you are bringing together key players from the region as well as stakeholders all around the world. Therefore, it's very timely. I hope that the conclusions will lead us to somewhere step by step. And I'm aware of the time constraint, therefore I won't speak longer than 2.5 hours. And to set the scene, just some sound bites for you, some headlines perhaps. Number one is Central Asia, when you look at it, especially geopolitically and energy-wise, it's sitting between China, the next superpower, and Europe. It's also a neighbor to Russia and India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran, and through Caucasia to Turkey as well. Therefore, it's a strategically very, very important region. And the changes that are taking place in the world today are dizzying, especially in the field of economy. We are leading towards some sort of recession, and geopolitically, tensions are increasing, not only in the case of Russia-Ukraine war, but also between China and the United States, also Indian subcontinent, and beyond that, the Caucasia. Therefore, there is a need to re-recognize what Central Asia is about, geopolitically, economically, as well as energy-wise. And therefore, this conference, I think, is going to be a small contribution to that. And energy-wise, there is no problem about energy supply. So it has abundance of fossil fuels. Then Ukraine and some of the rare earth materials as well, critical for renewable energy and newest technologies. But the problem is that fossil fuels dominates, except perhaps Tajikistan and Kyrgyzstan, as we heard from the ambassadors, dominates the energy scene. In some countries, almost to the tune of 95%. But the world, of course, is also full of fossil fuels. 77% of the world energy mix is fossil fuels, but in Central Asia, it's much more than that. In terms of carbon emissions, by world standards, I don't think that Central Asia is going to cause huge problems because it's only 1% of the global carbon emissions. And the population-wise, Uzbek ambassador said, we are almost half of Central Asia. So this brings it to almost 77, 78 million people, over 4 million kilometers of land. So it's a huge country, continent, almost in itself. And renewables chances are not great for a number of reasons. Although the potential is there for solar, for wind power, for hydropower, especially in Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan, which uses a little percentage of what their potential holds. Therefore, if the right policies are put in place, if financial resources are mobilized, because Central Asia cannot do it on its own, and there is a huge prospect for renewables to take a larger share in energy mix. Uzbekistan aims for almost 25% by 2030, Kazakhstan 10% and of renewable, but it is going to be a conflict somehow between fossil fuels, where they have competitive strengths, and the renewables, where you need huge investment to come. If these two conflicts could be brought to convergence, there is a good prospect in Central Asia to increase the share of renewables. Not only renewables, but also you need to modernize the aging grid, electricity grid, left from the Soviet era. Then also regulatory system must be more open and transparent. And corruption is huge in many countries in the region, whether we like it or not. And therefore, I think, well, it's not only limited to Central Asia, of course, the rest of the world, we face similar problems. And so the dichotomy between fossil fuels and renewables requires a massive shift away from fossil fuels towards low carbon, sustainable energy sources. It's said easier than done, of course, and there are many organizations working on that. But I think one of the clear paths to success in Central Asia is to perhaps mobilize regional integration and cooperation on better terms. We've been talking about this for ages, but it doesn't happen. and also bring more and more international investors. For example, one of the world's largest groups in Saudi Arabia is now in Uzbekistan, investing heavily on renewables. The same way Kazakhstan. So there's a long way to go for Turkmenistan as well. The resources are there, but it's a matter of how to tap them. Now, European Union, US, China, India, Russia, Japan, all of them perhaps could be somehow brought in to this region, which is not significant only on energy, but on geopolitical matters as well. So Central Asian leaders should start first among themselves and to achieve greater regional integration and inspire trust among the investors so that Central Asia will be able to fulfill its long-term goal of low carbon economy by 2060. And I'll stop here. I'm sure there will be questions if left from interventions, but I wish you all the success, and I hope that these discussions will lead to some tangible results that we will follow up later on. Thank you, Marat.